Comfort ye, my people. Comfort ye, my. Comfort ye, my people. Comfort ye, my. Comfort ye, my. Highway for our Elohim. Let every valley be lifted up, every mountain be made low. Let the crooked places be made straight, and let nothing stand in the way. Measure the waters up above, and the waters here below. Counted the dust of the earth in the palm of his hands. What are the nations when compared to the one who sits enthroned? Hear the voice of one crying. Hear the voice of one crying. Hear the voice of one crying. Our flesh is grass, and His glory must fade. Only Your word will remain. When the Ruach will blow, the flowers will fade, and all the grass will wither away. Comfort ye, my be comfort ye my people.
Shalom, shalom, and welcome back to the broadcast, you guys. Hang tight. Let me get to where I need to be. I need an engineer to help me. Nope, not another one. All right, welcome to the broadcast, you guys. A little fumbly today, working with two computers. We are going to be talking about some codes on this broadcast. Welcome, everybody. Let me get to a place where I can see your chat. Hang tight. If you haven't already, please like and share the broadcast. Today, working with two computers. All right. Had to cut I'm getting doubling back here. Here we go. There you are. Now I can see you. Welcome, everybody. Shalom, shalom. We are going to be talking about codes in this one. Had people asking me to talk about this particular code on the Eclipse that's coming up in April. Had also somebody send me a video from Pastor Paul Begley that just put one out on a Comet as well. Incidentally, I had Comet in that code, so it lines up. It lines up. I think you're going to be amazed and blessed, in spite of what the content is inside there, because there's some, some tough things to talk about. That's in that code, and I just wanted to bring up the point. I did see someone's comment in one of my videos the other day about fear mongering and I'm going to unsubscribe and things like that. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to get mad at you, but did the people of Nineveh call Jonah a fear monger when he came there? That's a good question. Maybe some did, but he was told to go there to warn the people, because we serve an Elohim of mercy. And his word says that if we return to him, he will return to us, and he is gracious and he will forgive us. Right? So that's what the warning's for. It's not just to tell you what's coming ahead or what could potentially be coming. And we're going to be looking at some of these signs and what they mean. I'd really be interested to see the path of this comet as it moves through the Mazzaroth, and we'll be able to interpret what that means a little better. I did happen to pull up Stellarium and look at where this eclipse is taking place, and it's pretty interesting to me. It's right there at Pisces, Pisces and Aries. Interesting fact, the code does show in a verse something happening at the fish gate. And if you know anything about the Mazzaroth, it's 12 gates that we're dealing with. This happens to be the fish gate. I think you're going to be amazed at this code and the details that are there. It goes to the point I've been trying to get to you guys in the past several videos about the details in these codes. Please share the broadcast, you guys. We want to get this out to as many people as we can. And by the way, thank you to the 1,000 plus subscribers that have just joined the channel in the past couple of weeks. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you. Let's keep that going. Please keep sharing, and we'll grow the numbers. All right, so I'll get to your questions. I see questions are already coming up in the chat there. Let me just get into the presentation. I'm going to start with something from Paul Begley, and then I want to move to just a clip of a 3-hour broadcast with Andrew Bustamante. If you don't know who he is a former CIA operative, and he talks about the chaos of 2024, even going into the Obama movie. You've heard me talking about that, which seems to be signaling something to us in that movie. If you haven't seen that, you need to go see it. This is a movie from Barack Obama, and he seems to be implying a lot in that movie. So let me just get started with this clip from Paul Begley. Then we'll look at the codes that I have. I got two for you, two different Eclipse 2024 tables that I got. It does appear 3 times in the codes. I got 2 of them ready to go for you. And we're going to read some of the verses, look at some of the ELS that are there, and we'll talk about it in the chat afterwards. You guys ready? Yes, I did see that, Lynn. Lynn Moe is bringing a good point. All the planets are lined up at that point in just about one place in the sky. So this is going to be a tremendous sign for the people of America, and not only, but all of the world. I believe America will be the example. That's happened many times in scripture, you guys, where Yah has used Israel as an example. And of course, if you've studied where the tribes are and what Milah Hagoyim means, which comes from Jacob prophesying over his sons, and he prophesies over Ephraim that he would be Milah Hagoyim. What is that? Well, you know it better in the words of Paul. It's called the fullness of the Gentiles. When the fullness of the Gentiles comes, you know what that means? If you got a glass and you're pouring some water or some kind of liquid in that glass, the fullness of it is when it's overflowing, right? That's the fullness. It's coming to its completion, right? I'm not going to get into why I believe the United States is representative of Ephraim, but if you really think about it, fullness of the nations, the Milah Hagoyim means it will be many tribes and nations within one nation. And that's exactly what the United States is. We're not just one race. We're many, and we're a potpourri of people. And so that's why I believe it fits. So let's get into what Paul Begley said. You guys, I want to share that. Then we'll move right into the code that I got for you. Hang tight, be patient. It's just me. Here's what Brother Paul had to say in his broadcast just a little while ago. Not long, 75 minutes ago.
Promise you that. Well, let me tell you what's going on, because this comet is extraordinary. It really is. Now we've got this to deal with. So you've got a solar eclipse, and it's going to go through the nation. It's going to crisscross from the last one, where right at Carbondale, Illinois, an area known as Little Egypt. And that's because there was a famine that hit in the late 1800s, and people had to run down all the way down to Southern Illinois, come out of Chicago, get down to Southern Illinois, where they could buy food, buy wheat, buy grain, buy flour, buy things they need to eat because of this famine that hit across America. Also, just 10 miles from Carbondale, Illinois, is a little town called Cairo. And in Carbondale, Illinois, is a university. It's Southern Illinois University. And their mascot is the Saluki, which is the dog of the pharaohs. And there's even a pyramid 60 miles away from this location. It looks like X marks the spot, certainly tied to the pyramids of Egypt and the Egyptian lore. But there's more. There's 2 different types of cicadas. They're like locusts. And they come out. One comes out every 17 years out of the ground. The other one every 13 years. And in Southern Illinois, they are going to both come out of the ground at the same time. And it could be during the time of this solar eclipse, certainly within just a week, 2 or 3 weeks from the eclipse, if not right during the eclipse. Actually, it's crazy, guys. The last time that both of these locusts, if you will, cicadas, came out of the ground the same year was 1803. And of course, that was during a time that another solar eclipse was coming, not the same year, but within 3 years of that eclipse in the same area. And also the major earthquakes of 1811 and 1812 that hit the New Madrid fault line. So it's like the eclipse and the locusts and the darkness. And now we got a comet. What? Comet 12P pons-brooks. That's Comet 12P. Pons-brooks is going to arrive during the time of this solar eclipse. So that's now we got signs in the heavens, the sun, the moon, and the stars. And yes, they're all in play at the same time. It's incredible, really. But here's what's going to happen. The anticipation is building for a very rare sight during April's solar eclipse. In addition to the sun's corona, there's going to be a comet. It's 12P pons-brooks. It will be close to the sun during the total solar eclipse. That comet will be close as it's making its perihelium around the sun, potentially being visible to the naked eye when it's inside the moon's shadow. This is unbelievable. Are you serious? Are you seriously serious? So you're going to have the sun, you're going to have the moon passing in front, creating this eclipse of the sun. And when it gets in total eclipse of the sun, then in the shadow of the moon will be the comet 12P pons-brooks. And the sound you may be hearing will be the massive trillions of cicadas from 2 different species coming out at the same time. And the thickest place in the whole country of America that these cicadas will be, you got it, Carbondale, Illinois, Southern Indiana.
Interesting, right? Calm down, calm down. Are you serious? So we got that to deal with. How about that? That's amazing. It will be interesting to see if we could see the tail potentially of this comet. That would probably be a very unique sight if this truly is going to line up that way. Can you imagine all the planets in line, an eclipse, and then a comet on top of it? You couldn't scream more. This is a sign. Now he mentioned the city of Carbondale and Little Egypt and things like that, but he didn't mention, and I did see someone post on Facebook, the trail of this going from the southwest to the northeast does go through several cities called Nineveh, right? Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Salim was the last city. There were 7 Salims of Salem, right? The Salem, not the same as Jerusalem, right? Or Jerusalem. It's a different spelling and usage of that word. The word means completion. So you got 7 completions in the first comet, and now we've got Nineveh's going the other way. What does it mean? You tell me. Let's talk about that, right? Is it a sign? Or just an accident? Just a coinkydink, right? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's very significant. I'm not saying something's going to happen on that day. It's very rare that you see a sign in the heaven and then immediately in the same day you see something manifest, right? The Magi, following the Star of Bethlehem, did this over many, many months, right? Or many weeks, rather. They only had to go about 800 miles. But they did follow it. It was leading them to something. It was telling them something, right? I would imagine there was probably also signs in the heavens when Jonah went to Nineveh. The Father doesn't do anything before he warns us first. That's the way he is. All right. Let me get back to where I can see you guys. He warns us first before he does anything. And he shows those who have the eyes to see and the ears to hear these things. So it is very significant. It's not just a coincidence at all. The Father doesn't work that way. Let's go over to the codes without further ado. I'm going to show you one, and then I'm going to show you another. And what we have here is Eclipse 2024. As you can see, going down the center of your page there is the axis term. Comet 2024, that can be spelled with a dalet in the first part of the year, and then the hay moves in the second part of the year. That will be the other table that I show you. Right off the bat, okay, we got some interesting anomalies here. I did look for some names like Biden and Obama and Trump and Kamala, because I think this is tied to the election as well, warning us, right? Especially when you see that little green anomaly right there talking about an old and foolish king, right? Who's that? I think that's Biden. And what do I think is going to happen? Well, I've been talking about this a little bit, you guys. And based on the Kamala code and what we've seen in the Biden code, if you recall, and you were with me a number of years ago before the election of Biden, or when he got the office, we're not going to go into details about what I think happened there. I've learned my lesson, but I had found a code that indicated that Kamala was potentially going to be president at some time. And I remember in those days that I told you that I didn't expect Biden to finish his term. And quite frankly, I thought, excuse me, that he was going to resign early in his term. And that of course, turned out not to be the case. But what is likely, because I do believe the code is valid, is on the other end of his term, right? So I'd said it would be early in his term. Looks like it's going to be late in his term. What are you talking about, Joanthan? Well, it looks like there will be a short window of time where Kamala will potentially be the president. You guys, I cannot see Biden surviving this. And I don't mean that he's going to die. However, that is potential. I just think he's going to resign and fade away out of the limelight. I don't think that they're going to use Kamala to run. I don't think she's going to be the nominee. In other words, she could be, but I think it would be a big mistake for the Democrats because of the juggernaut that's trying to make its comeback. Right, real dangerous time for him because they don't want him back in. You can see what they're doing to him in the trials that he's going through, right? This is a concerted effort to try to keep him out of office at all cost. And I do mean all cost, right? So what do we see in this code here? So we do have the name Obama in here at the top. That's in the orange here. Trump's name does not appear in this code. And you would think it would be there. Excuse me. And it made me double check because I've looked at a lot of codes. Yeah, it's not in this one. But it is very interesting that Obama's name appears right with the word plague. We're going to see that again in the other table as well, an anomaly with Obama's name and that word. Well, if you recall some of the COVID tables that I did when it first came out, we found a connection to Obama and, things that happened in China. Again, I can't go into details on that. It's one of the videos I got dinged for. And so I'm not going to risk that again. Right. By the way, I do have a Rumble channel now where we are going to be talking about those kinds of codes where I'm a little safer over there. So be sure to look, if you're on Rumble, be looking for the Code Searcher. I'm also on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. Also on TikTok, if you want to go and search me out there. The word comet appears right there. So there is a comet associated with this eclipse. This eclipse is going to be seen by America, as you see it there in the yellow. Another way to write that is the United States, vertical here. You see in the blue, the United States, America. And we also have the United States in blue that runs right across the bulk of where this code is. Moedim. Moedim, this is going to be happening right slap dab in the middle of feast season for the Hebrews, you guys. April 8th, if you look at that, this is, we're in the time frame of the feast. We've got Passover coming up, Abib, and then Passover, first fruits, all those things, and then later Shavuot, and then going into the other feasts on the other end of the spectrum. So Moedim is there in the orange, right there. Kamala is also here. Now this is here at a really interesting skip, you guys. This is significant, I believe, because it crosses the term, and it's at a skip of 24, like 2024, right? So at a skip of 24, we have Kamala going across that that axis term. Vertical, you see that vertical anomaly right there? Now this is interesting to me because of the proximity to the axis term. In fact, that all of these things appear in such a close proximity in this particular window of text that we're looking at. That's Nineveh. Nineveh vertical with Eclipse 2024. So again, not a coincidence that all these cities, Nineveh, and several, I think it might be 7 of those. It's not an accident. It's there. Sons of righteousness sitting here right under the bet in the United States. So there will be this sign is for the righteous. The wicked are not going to pay attention to this. Matter of fact, I'll have scoffers that say, "Oh, you're fear mongering and unsubscribed." They don't want to hear it. They only want to hear good things. And there are some good things in this table because there's promises from the Father. The wicked are going to be punished. The kings on and the host on high. These are the ones that are going to be punished. The righteous endure, right? He's made promise to save us, right? But he's also going to tell us beforehand that there's a threat of this. Now, just like what happened with Jonah and Nineveh, I have to say this: I do believe it's very possible that our people are praying and they're interceding for this nation, that the hand of judgment can be averted or postponed. Judgment is definitely coming, but it can be postponed. That's the way he is. He's merciful, right? I want to take a look at some of the verses, and we might go a little more in depth. I got some from that's Isaiah there, Jeremiah. And that's Jeremiah as well. But I want to come on down to what I got highlighted where you see in the purple day, Hanei Yamin Baim. You guys remember that phrase? Hanei Yamin Baim. Behold, the days are coming. I want to go to that verse, go to that place and read what's there. Because this is, if you look at the symmetry here, the right angles that's taking place, and the fact that this comes right over this code as a banner. Let's look at what the context is here. This is what I mean about the plain text and the encoded all coming together. So there is a context of this prophet in itself relating to some historical things. But when we're looking at this in the context of a code, and then in this case is Eclipse 2024, it is my opinion and my from what I've seen in the codes in years past, these are always significant. Anytime you have the plain text interacting with the context of whatever code you're looking for, a person, place, thing, event, historical event. Let's look at that real quick. And I believe this is Amos. Yeah, it's Amos. And chapter 8, I'm going to read the whole thing because it's very short. Look what this says. Thus hath the Adonai Elohim showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what dost thou see? And I say, a basket of summer fruit. Then said the Adonai unto me, the end is come upon my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the songs of the temple shall be the howlings in that day, saith Adonai Elohim. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence. Hear this, O ye that are swallowed up, the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? And by the way, eclipses like this happen at new moon time. That's why it's called new moon. You can't see the moon. It's dark at that point. And then occasionally it gets right in front of the sun. At new moon time, it's near the sun. In eclipse time, it's right over the sun. Okay. So it's specifically talking about the new moon time. Okay. New moon is not full moon, by the way. And this is how we can't have an eclipse of the sun at Passover time when Yeshua's on the cross, i.e., something else blotted out the sun. That's another subject. Okay, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth the week, and making the ephah small and the shekel great, falsifying the balances of deceit. This is what they were doing. Are they doing it today? Yes, they are. You know they are. That we may buy the poor of the silver and the needy a pair of shoes, yea, they sell and refuse. They sell the refuse of the wheat. The Adonai had sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. Shall not the land tremble for this, and every one mourn that dwelleth therein? And shall it rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned as by a flood of Egypt? Watch this. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Adonai Elohim, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in a clear day. That sounds like an eclipse. I will darken the earth in the clear day. I will turn your feast in the morning, and all your songs into lamentations. I will bring upon up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head, and I will make it as mourning of the only son at the end, therefore as a bitter day. Behold, the days come, saith Adonai Elohim, that I will send famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, but the hearing of the words of Adonai. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Adonai, and it shall not be found. In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst. If they that swear by the son of Samaria, and say, thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise again. Running right through the top of that, I do think it's significant. You can see what I mean by talking about being darkened in a clear day. All right, can you see the significance? Let's move on to the other one. I want to go to the other one and look at that one too, because you're going to see the same kinds of things there. There's some of the even same verses are there. I believe this one's it. I got several open in front of me. Same thing. Another code on the eclipse. Same thing. Here's the access term in blue. It's a little different. In the same range though. The last one I believe was 26,000. What was it? 27,690. And now we're going to 23,775. So a little different, but it's in the same range. Eclipse 2024 is the access term. And right at the top, we've got the word mishpat. or judgment. We also have with the olive, oat. So we got a sign of judgment right there with this code. Great wrath, right across the pay there. And by the way, we also have Nineveh. Nineveh appears vertical, but in a row skip ELS that's right next to the code. Biden does appear here. Again, I don't believe Trump is in this table, but Biden and Kamala and Obama do appear here. There's Biden in the black and red. We've got Obama, his name right here. And what's really interesting in this is you can see this green anomaly here. And I'm going backwards because it starts in the letter Mem in the name Obama and runs this way, like this, which is very similar to the code that we just looked at, where we had the word plague connected to Obama. And we have it again. It's connected to the Mem here in the plural form, right? It's in the plural form. We also have the word hidden in purple there, and across the axis term, we've got the United States. We also have war, Mechamet, also here. It's also in the plain text here with the comet. There's a comet. Comets usually have a connection to war. So does these eclipse, so it's a double witness here, basically. We've got a destroyer in the stars. You see that? End of days in the blue, which puts us in the time that we're in. And Nibiru, Planet X. You guys, I've told you in other videos that this anomaly keeps appearing and has a connection to whatever wormwood is in Revelation 8. In the plain text, in the reverse, with Nibiru here, and also down here at an ELS, running in that direction. So twice in this table. I'm not saying that we're going to see any of that, during this event, but I do think it plays a role whenever the world war breaks out. And what we're seeing now, you guys, is just the proxies getting started, just like World War I. The proxies getting it started. I do believe there's going to be famine because we have here hunger comes. There's a time of hunger coming right here. Ruev Bo. Right next to that in the purple is Kamala. So Kamala and Biden almost in the same skip pattern, just slightly different. Obama here, Kamala, Biden, no Trump. No Trump. Let's take a look at some of the verses. I want to go to this point right here and back up because just around the corner of this cylinder is something that's really interesting to me. It's a fragment right here. You know how long it's been since the last eclipse that we're coming on to? How many years is it? Anybody know? At the end of 7 years, this fragment, at the end of 7 years, that's pretty close proximity to this thing about the comet. Jeremiah, I believe. Yep, Jeremiah 49:39, where we have the end of days. That appears. Talking about Elam. It shall come to pass in the latter days that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith Yod-Heh Vav-Heh. All right, let's go to Ezekiel here. I've forgotten okay. All right. Let's see what this says. Let's back up and get a little bit of context. Now, I see a connection to excuse me. I was wanting to say Tyrus, but that's not. Tarshish is the word I'm thinking of. Look what happens in, of course, this happened historically, but in the context of this code. Now thou son of man, take up a lamentation for Tyrus, and say unto Tyrus, oh, that thou art situate at the entry of the sea, thou art a merchant of many people, for many isles. Thus saith Adonai Elohim to Tyrus, thou hast said, I am perfect, I am of perfect beauty. Thy borders are in the midst of the seas. Thy builders have perfected thy beauty, and they have made the shipboards of fir trees of Sinir, and have taken the cedars from Lebanon to make the mast for thee. Of the oaks of Bashan have they made thine oars. The company of the Ashurites have they made thy branches of ivory, and brought out of the isles of Chittim fine linen with broidered work from Egypt, that was that which thou spreadest forth to be thy sail. The blue and the purple from the isles of Elisha, which covered thee. The inhabitants of Zidon and Arvad were thy mariners, thy wise men, O Tyrus, that were in thee. The ancients of Gebal and the wise men thereof were in thee like caulkers. All the ships of the sea and in their manners were in thee to occupy thy merchandise. They of Persia and of Lud and of Put were in thine army, and thy men of war. They hanged the shield and helmet in thee, and they set forth thy comeliness. The men of Arvad with thine enemy were upon thy walls round about, and the Gamadines were in thy towers, and they hang their shields upon the wall around about, and have made thy beauty perfect. Tarshish was thy merchant by reason of the multitude of all kinds of riches, with silver and iron, tin and lead, and they traded thy fares. Javan, Tubal, and Meshach, they were thy merchants, and they traded the persons of men and vessels of brass in thy market. And they of the house of Togarmah traded in thy fairs with horses and horsemen and mules. We're talking about commerce and seafaring peoples, right? Trading ships of the sea. Syria was thy merchant by reason of the multitude of the wares of thy making, and they occupied thy wares with emeralds and purple and embroidered work and fine linen and coral and agate. Judah and the land of Israel, they were thy merchants, and they traded in thy market wheat of Minnith and of Penang and honey and oil and balm. Damascus was thy merchant in the multitude of wares of thy making, for the multitude of all riches, the wine of Helbon, the white wool, Dan also, Yavan, going to and fro, occupied in thy fairs, bright iron, cassia, and calamus were in thy market. Dedan was thy merchant in precious clothes for chariots. Arabia and the princes of Kedar, they occupied thee in lambs and rams and goats, and these were thy merchants. Can you see the ramifications here with the world economy? I think it's telling us something about what we can expect. The merchants of Sheba and Raman, they were thy merchants, and they occupied their fairs with the chief of all spices and all the precious stones and gold. Haran and Canaan and Eden and the merchants of Sheba, Ashur, and Chilmad were thy merchants. And these are ancient names of modern countries, by the way. These were thy merchants in all sorts of things, blue clothes, embroidered work, and all the chest of rich apparel, bound with cords and made with cedar among thy merchandise. The ships of Tarshish did sing of thee at thy market, and thou wast wast replenished and made very glorious in the midst of the seas. And thy towers have brought thee into great waters. The east wind brought thee into the midst of the seas. Thy riches and thy fares, thy merchandise, thy mariners, thy pilots, thy caulkers, and the occupier of thy merchandise, and all of the men of war that are in thee and in thy company, which is in the midst of thee, shall fall in the midst of the sea in the day of thy ruin. The suburbs shall shake at the sound of the cry of thy pilots, and all that handle the oar, the mariners, and all the pilots of the sea. It's almost a tongue twister. Shall come down from their ships, and shall stand upon the land, and shall cause their voice to be heard against thee, and shall cry bitterly, and shall cast up dust upon their heads, and shall wallow themselves in the ashes. And they shall make themselves utterly bald for thee. This is lamentation, right? This is grieving. What are they grieving, right? And gird them with sackcloth. They shall weep for thee with bitterness of heart and with bitter wailing. Who are they weeping for? Who are they lamenting, you guys? Who's assigned to? And their wailing shall take up a lamentation for thee, and lament over thee, saying, what city is like Tyrus, like the destroyed in the midst of the sea, when thy wares went forth out of the seas? And by the way, America used to lead the world in manufacturing and merchandise. It's no longer. We don't have that to brag. Thou fillest many people, and thou did enrich the kings of the earth with the multitude of thy riches and of thy merchandise. And at the time that thou shalt be broken in by the seas, in the depths of the waters, by the merchandise, and all the company in the midst of thee shall fall. All the inhabitants of the isle shall be astonished at thee, and their kings shall be sore afraid, and shall be troubled in their own countenance. The merchants among the people shall hiss at thee, and thou shalt be a terror, and never shall be any more. Harsh words. A sign? You betcha. Let's move down here to Zephaniah and read that. Interesting here. And we're going to read this together. I'm going to start from the beginning. But you see that highlighted version portion that goes through there. And the word of Yahuwah came unto the Zephaniah, the son of Cushi, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Aramira, and the son of Hiskiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, the king of Judah. I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith Yodevavhe. I will consume man and beast, and I will consume the fowls of the heaven, and the fishes of the sea, and the stumbling blocks of the wicked. I will cut off man from off the land, say Yodevavhe. I will also stretch out my hand upon Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the cherubims with the priest, and them that worship the hosts of heaven upon housetops, and them that worship and swear by the Adonai, and that swear by Malcham, and them that are turned back from the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, and those that have not sought the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh or inquired of them. And by the way, everywhere you see Lord and God in your King James Version, originally had Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh or Adonai. Hold thy peace at the presence of the Adonai Elohim, for the day of the Adonai is at hand, for the Adonai hath prepared a sacrifice and hath bid his guests. And it shall come to pass in the day of Yah's sacrifice, that I will punish the princes. Look who gets punished. It's not the righteous. It's not the little guy. It's the princes and the king's children, and all that are such are clothed with strange apparel. And that same day I will punish all those that leap on the threshold and fill their master's house with violence and deceit. Excuse me. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Adonai, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate. Exactly where the eclipse happens. Now, in this context of the verse here, we're talking about the gate, the actual gate into the city. But when we're talking about the Maserat, from the fish gate, right? And a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. Remember what we just read earlier already, right? So we're seeing reference to world economy in this, that it's going to collapse at some point. And don't it look like they're trying to do that intentionally? I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to wake you up. Does it not appear that way? Have you gone shopping lately? Right? You know, here on the island, I just saw a news report about Outback Steakhouse is closing down because they can't afford to pay their workers because beef prices are so high. They can't afford to feed people. They can't keep up with it. That's intentional. I saw a number come from Glenn Beck the other day about international beef coming into the United States, 1 billion pounds of it in a year. You know what that's doing to the American rancher? Where it used to be we could get quality, American-made, ground round, and steaks. It's not like that anymore. They bring beef in from other countries and put an American flag on it and tell you it's American. It's not. They're trying to destroy these food producers across the board, you guys. So we can see the merchants are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will stretch Jerusalem with candles and punish the men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, the Adonai will not do good, neither will he do evil. Therefore their goods shall become booty, and their houses a desolation, and they shall also build houses, but not inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards, but not drink of the wine thereof. The great and the great day, I don't want to add to, but it does say the great and terrible day, right? The great day of Yah is near. It is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of Yah, and the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. In that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against fenced cities and against high towers. What are we talking about here in context of this eclipse? You know, the path that it takes. Some have made a connection to the migrants coming across the border, and this is starting in Texas and going through the Northeast. A day of trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, and they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against Yah, and their blood shall be poured out as dust. This is the wicked, and their flesh as dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Yah's wrath. You hear me? Money will not buy your safety. If you are wicked, you can't dig a hole deep enough. And they're doing that. Bunkers and digging into the mountains and things like that. It's not going to be deep enough. Your money's not going to save you. But the whole land shall be devoured by fire of his jealousy. For he shall even make a speedy riddance of all of them that dwell in the land. Look what it says just the next chapter. Seek ye the Adonai, and all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness, and it shall be, ye shall be hid in the day of Yah's anger. You hear me? There's promises there for the righteous, you guys. There's promises to the wicked and promises to the righteous. And all of these codes that seem like judgment and fear mongering, we have these promises. He's going to protect you. You know, in the day when the enemies of Israel were fighting with Israel, and Yah caused hail to rain down on them, and they were in hand-to-hand combat. Who did the stones hit? Was it Yah's people? No, it was precision strikes, you guys. These stones came down on the enemy and didn't touch one of the Israelites. That's precision. Don't be fearful for these things that are coming upon the earth. And the Bible does say that men's hearts fail them for those things that are coming upon the earth. And I think that's connected to wormwood. We're not supposed to be fearful. We're supposed to rejoice. There's an amazing thing coming, right? The New Jerusalem, the new kingdom. We have that to look forward to. And then there are those that are waiting on a rapture. Just know this. He's going to preserve you. And when that day of catching up comes, he will not forget you. He will catch you away. Okay? I'm not going to split hairs of when that is. I've already reconciled that in the codes for at least for myself and some others. But we will be caught up with him at some point and taken to the new kingdom. That's the righteous. It is the wicked that he's coming to destroy. In every case, you see that. And not one time does he say he's coming to punish his people, but the wicked. So that's what I got for you on these codes here. Two very, I think, really interesting codes on the eclipse. It's definitely a sign to us. The fact that Nineveh is the cities that this is running through, I think, is a signal that this is a Nineveh situation. In other words, I do believe the prayers and of the righteous, that will be heard. I think he's a merciful Elohim. It is not his will that any should perish. And he will send warning. Think about it as a parent, and your kid's doing something naughty, or they're getting in trouble. What do? You warn them first before you bring down the judgment, right? Now some parents don't. Some parents are quick to judge. They'll pull off that flip-flop or that hairbrush and, go to town on that little fanny, right? But our Father is merciful. He warns us first, right? So that we don't fear. That's not about him. He is a merciful Elohim. I'm thankful that he warns us this way. I'm thankful he gives us these codes to consider and these signs to look at. It makes one mindful of him. He has got everything in the palm of his hand. He's got it worked out. He's not he's not after you. In other words, he loves you, and he's gonna warn us. He's gonna protect us. Now, I do think we might see some really interesting stuff with this eclipse. I don't recall any other time where there is a comet involved. It will be interesting to see what the effect is on that. Normally, when you have a comet close to the sun, you can't see it because it's in the sun's brightness. But if you have something blocking out the sun, is it possible to see the tail? I think that would be a significant anomaly to witness. So, of course, we're going to be looking at that further down the road, you guys. As we get close, maybe even do a live stream on that particular sign. I want to thank everybody who joined me today in this broadcast. Please, if you would, give me a thumbs up and share this so other people can see it. Help us keep the numbers up. And all of you that are doing that, thank you for it. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. It actually helps the channel. It helps us grow. You guys, before I sign off, I'm looking over at the chat here. You guys got any questions? Anything you want to ask me? You guys, we are still taking students. If you're interested in searching codes and getting involved, at the end of the broadcast, when I tag this video and put something down in the description box, I'll make sure there's a link there for my email. If you're interested in searching codes, you want to email me and get into the class. It's very affordable. 25% off from 2 years ago when I was teaching this class. So it's now $75 for the month. That's a deal. And the amount of things that we're going to be doing, I think it's worth it. It'll help this channel. You know, Paul had a job as a tent maker, but he still worked in ministry. I've been given the opportunity with this to work in my passion. And my passion is doing these codes and teaching you guys how to do it. I'm not the only one supposed to do this. Even though I'm the code searcher, you guys are supposed to do it too. Scott, very good code searcher, going to be helping us. And I think you guys are going to do great things for the kingdom with your own codes. There has to be other witnesses in this field. Otherwise, I'm just some lone guy out there that's kind of crazy, a little nutty, maybe. Let me see if you got any questions. Any questions for me before I sign off, you guys? We're also going to be doing names codes, personal codes. I'm trying to catch up on the ones we had left, but we're taking names now. And it's worth the wait. Everyone that I've done a code for and in video for say it was worth it. I was open to those for open donations. That did get a little confusing during that process because I got so overwhelmed with it, and the donations varied so much from very small to very great. And then at that point I had to prioritize, which means that some of them that turned in their name earlier got shuffled down to the bottom because I felt myself in this conundrum of, you know, feeling obligated because of the donation amount that I had to prioritize. So I want to eliminate that by just doing a flat rate, right? And it will be affordable and worth it as well. So if you're interested in names codes, getting your name done, somebody's name done, we will have that available as well. My website will get back on the internet soon. Right now we're a little bit rudimentary, but have some patience with me. We'll be back online with a new website very soon, where you guys can go navigate to that and see the information there. Again, I'm also on Rumble. Look for me there for the controversial stuff. I'm going to learn how to do live stream from that platform so we can get into those codes that I can't talk about on YouTube, you guys. You know what they did to me? I had to erase like 400 plus codes, videos off of my channel because I panicked. I got hit with a 1-2 punch, and then 3 months later, another 1-2 punch. And that third one, I'd have been out of the YouTube business. So I had to go and dump a lot of codes, and that included all the stuff on COVID, the election codes. Remember, a week up into the election. I was telling you exactly what was going to happen, spot on. And it happened that way, in spite of what 400 so-called prophets of this Christian evangelical thing were absolutely wrong. Every single one of them. Had to erase those videos because YouTube said it was misinformation. Who'd have thunk? so, and many others I had to just dump on because it was too risky. So, yeah, forgot where I was. No questions. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I'm going to go ahead and close out the broadcast. Again, please share this everywhere and help us get the message out there. I'm also looking to do some collaboration with some other YouTube channels. One I just subscribed to yesterday, Paradigm Media. Good information over there. Smaller channel, but I think it will grow very soon, especially with collaboration. Also, Greg Braden, trying to make connection with him to collaborate, and a few others. It actually, in the YouTube studio, it recommends that you do that to grow your channel. So we're going to be following those instructions and that advice and trying to grow with others, not just this channel, but others as well. So until we see you again, you guys, shalom to you. May Yah bless you and keep you. Be praying for me in this channel. And if you're able to help with a donation, I would certainly appreciate it. I am getting students together now, but I'm still in the hole. I've been here on the island for a month, and my bills have, I got to pay my rent. Anyway, shalom to you. I love you. We'll see you next broadcast.